I like to consider this segment basically an intro to AutoChartist, which is to just spend a few minutes explaining what it is and what it is not, and how to do some basic setup. Now, this version, of course, has not only Forex, but also the Fibonacci patterns, as well as indices, stocks, and you can see we've got this divided into a number of tabs across the top. So we're going to have our emphasis today on Forex, but any of the scanning and quality indicator settings that I'm going to be speaking about today can be applied to any search criteria. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and click on this pencil icon right here, and that will bring up the chart pattern search criteria pop-up window. Now, when you are first starting off with AutoChartist, remember that you're dealing with a platform that's really a customizable scanner, chart pattern identification, and alert software. This is not a system. This is not meant to be taken as a buy-sell recommendation in terms of every one of these alerts that you see here. Okay? A lot of times people mistaken this for a system, but really in essence it's so much more. It's really more of a second trading partner in your office. And what I recommend by making some changes and making some customizations with this chart pattern search criteria window is to make sure that AutoChartist reflects the type of alerts that you would be looking for had you been going through this process manually. Now, obviously, because you have the advantage of automation, because you have the advantage of having the AutoChartist look across numerous pairs, numerous time frames, and identify sometimes more than one pattern on a particular time frame, it's doing more than probably you or I could do in a very short amount of time. And even more so, if we could do this, what AutoChartist does is it does it unemotionally. There is no preference to the bullish or bearish side. Some of us as traders might actually have some of those biases. So the key here is that with the AutoChartist, we're able to use unemotional, automated chart pattern recognition, scanning, and alert. And this way it's saving us time to focus only on those patterns that we think are a good potential setup for our approach. So let's talk initially about a couple of the tips that we would recommend you begin with. Number one, rather than using a single Forex tab, what we highly recommend is taking the time, and you'll only have to do this once, taking the time to go ahead and create a tab for each pair or time frame, however you'd like to separate it, that you trade or watch. So here you notice we separated them into actual pairs. So the search name, the tab name would be EUR. That's what you'll see up here on the tab itself. So rather than going by category or by exchange, which are very broad search criteria, we get into the most customizable criteria, which is symbol. And here, very simply, exchange is Forex. The symbol is the EUR USD for the Euro US dollar. And then finally we choose the interval. Now, if you trade all intraday intervals, meaning the 15, 30, 60, 240, 15, 30, 60, and 240 intraday time frames, if you trade all four of these, this is what AutoChartist scans for. If you trade all of them, go ahead and choose intraday. But if you, say, have a preference for one or two or maybe three of these, for example, maybe just the 15, 30, 60, go ahead and make one search criteria for Forex Euro US dollar 15, and go back in and do it again for the 30 and then again for the 60. And this way the platform will only be scanning for those time frames and patterns that might be occurring on them. No sense in being alerted to a time frame or a pair that you typically will not trade. It's a distraction. So remember, taking the time to customize will only increase the value of the alerts that you're going to get. Okay? If you don't or do like dailies, you can go ahead and add that as well. You can see that's one of the time frame choices that you have here. So the first recommendation is to go ahead and create these custom tabs with the pairs that you trade and the particular time frames that you want to be alerted to.